Hello everyone, Swanee and Cookie here with another Helldivers 2 update video. Now there is a ton of brand new information that we just got today. We got brand new patch notes, we got a new major order, and there's just a lot to go over. So Cookie, why don't you go ahead and go over the new major order for us?
Yeah, so they're keeping this major order a little more simple. Says the automatons are attempting to punch through the line at a single planet. Hold it at all costs. And the order overview, designated planets must be under Super Earth control when order expires, and it just has the one planet Marfark. The dispatch that came with this major order says, with the Menkent line established, the automaton fleet has been forced to divert their plans. Now they are attempting a concerted effort to punch through at a single planet. The automatons are likely to muster the entirety of their strength for this endeavor. You must outlast the enemy, hold the planet, no matter the cost. So I say it's simple, as in it's just literally one planet that needs all of the attention of the Helldivers, but it sounds like they're not going to make this one easy, so I'm kind of curious exactly how they decide to make it not easy for us. But yeah, expect a lot of snow, a lot of blizzards. We're going to be on Marfark for at least the next day and a little bit more than that. In addition to today's major order, there is also a new personal order for everyone. It's just simply to complete 6 secondary objectives. Should be easily done in just one match. I don't know if it's just the minor objectives or this counts the outposts as objectives too. If it's just the minor objectives, it's going to take multiple matches. If it's more than that, then you probably could do it in just one match. I'm not totally sure about that.
Yeah, especially depending on your teammates. Like if you get stuck with some randos, sometimes it can take 2 to 3 matches. So this one could be a little bit more annoying than most.
Yeah, it's not something you can definitely get done in one match. It just depends on the randos that you might end up with. So maybe this might be one that might be better off to do maybe on your own at lower difficulties or something.
We also got some brand new armor that we've never seen before added to the Superstore today. So why don't you go over those for us, Cookie?
Well, the first one is the CM10 Clinician, which is basically another medium armor with some medic skills attached to it. And also the FS37 Ravager, which is a new light armor, which also has that grenade perk that the most recent light armor that got released in the latest Warbond also had that grenade thing. So yeah, it's a pretty cool look. Same kind of passives and stuff like that have been added.
I really like the new visor for the medic helmet. That's definitely my favorite, and I'm going to be getting that one for sure.
I really like the other helmet, honestly. The Ravager helmet has a neat little unique design. It looks like it has part of the Exterminator helmet onto it a little bit with a different color. So I think the helmets are cooler than the armor, personally.
Yeah, they look pretty cool. So make sure you check out the Superstore if you want to pick up these new armor sets. There was also a brand new patch that went out earlier this morning with patch 1.000.203. Now, there wasn't any like balancing changes or anything. This was mainly just a patch to do bug fixes and stuff. So why don't you go over that for us, Cookie?
Yeah, so the overview says that they've made fixes to the armor passive and various improvements to stability. Under gameplay, it says the CE27 Groundbreaker armor, which was just introduced in the latest Warbond, now has the Engineer Kit passive as previously advertised, so kind of like a bug fix there. And then under fixes, has a bunch of different crash fixes, including loadout screens. After extraction there would be crashes, throwing back a grenade would cause crashes, too many civilians, tons of different reasons why there were crashes, so they fixed all of those different issues that were happening in the game.
Which is always a good sign. Like, I crash constantly. Yesterday I crashed so hard my entire PC turned off, so... Yeah, they definitely need to fix these crash issues, so I hope the game's a lot more stable after this patch.
There's kind of a recurring thing in this game where they release a new weapons update, balance, or whatever, and in that update they fix a lot of crashes, but they create new crashes. That has kind of been an issue they've been having, and then they have to have another patch come out like a week or so later to fix all those issues. I'm kind of hoping that happens less and less over time, but that's been an issue that has been kind of a reoccurring theme for them lately.
Yeah. And speaking of issues, there is quite a number of known issues in these patch notes as well, which we'll probably just throw up on screen for you guys. So if you want to see the known issues, they're on screen.
There is also a couple of other fixes that are on there, like red boxes not showing up, major orders should now properly display text, a lot of UI kind of issues that they also fixed in this patch.
Yeah, so this is just an overall quality of life, small little update.
Yeah, hot fix, if you would.
But there was also something they added that wasn't mentioned in the patch notes, and is that the factories are back, the big, like, AT-AT walkers. So Helldivers 2 tweeted this out. They said factory striders have made a resurgence on the automaton front. These imposing massive support dreadnoughts now threaten freedom and democracy throughout the galactic rim. And they even added a new mission type where the whole objective is to take out these giant factory striders, and some people have been saying that they just straight up spawn in regular matches as well. So glad to see that the factory striders are back, because they were missing for what felt like forever.
They didn't come out that often anyway. When they had first been released, it was kind of hard to find them. It took us multiple missions to actually get into a match where there was a factory strider. So they're a really, really cool unit. They add a lot to the battlefield, and it's something that really has hardly been around for people. So it is kind of cool to see them using them much more often. It kind of sounds like they had come in as some sort of a prototype, and now this is the real thing, which is really terrifying because the prototype was extremely difficult to kill. But these are really, really hard to kill.
Yeah, and before they would only spawn on levels 8 and 9, and now we've got them to spawn on level 6. So there's a little bit of variety there.
And they were extremely hard to kill on level 6, so they're monsters. They're going to take everything you got to take them down. With the latest patch notes released, one of the community managers on Discord has been very active responding to people's complaints, and one of them is about the known issues and how there's so many on there that they don't think are being addressed. Spitz on Discord responded by saying, most of the bugs in the known issues list and patch notes are actively being worked on, but they're either large fixes that require a bit of time or low priority issues behind other things, and most should be patched in the next major build. It's difficult to maintain our cadence of one Warbond per month while also fixing major technical glitches in time for the next patch. One of the responses to that said, that's why it would be all good if you skipped a Warbond, maybe even 2, to take the time you need. A mostly bug-free experience will be the best experience, then you'll be working with far less bugs each patch forward. Which Spitz responded saying, sadly it's not that simple. Skipping a Warbond for a month is a huge company decision. So that's kind of what I would have expected. If they skipped the Warbonds, that would really hurt their overall plan, even though it does cause some crashes and some glitches. It sounds like it's worth taking that chance for them at this point.
Yeah, I've seen this brought up a number of different times in the community where people say, hey, we need to take a pause from the war bonds and we need to have like a month of bug fixes. And I get both sides of this argument, but they have to keep the player engagement. They have to keep people interested. And if they took an entire month off from giving us a war bond of new weapons or whatever, I mean, you're going to lose thousands upon thousands of players. And once you lose players, it's hard to get them back. I mean, just look at Palworld. Palworld's been having a couple updates, and their player numbers aren't even close to what they were when the game released. So, like, it's all about keeping that player retention. And if they take a whole month off just to do bug fixes, yeah, that's going to make the game more stable, but in the process, you're losing a lot of the player base. So they're kind of walking this fine line here, and that is probably a big company decision where they need probably like multiple executives to be like, okay, let's focus on fixing the game. And we obviously have seen by now that their priorities aren't fixing, it's more of like pushing out content. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, there was that time in February where they took all that time and kind of relaxed the content just to make the game playable because people literally couldn't play. And it wasn't just some people here and there. It was half the player base couldn't get on because the servers were full. So that was a little bit different. But in general, if you can, yeah, you want to keep that content going. That's just the nature of today's video game market. If there isn't constant content streaming in, they're going to lose practically their whole fan base. Like the people that are commenting saying we want the bug-free experience more than new content are the like real deep ingrained fans. But that's not most of the fan base. Most of the fan base is people that jump from game to game, and they'll jump to another game as soon as this game gets boring to them. I believe that's why they would have this company decision, is they want to keep that stuff going.
Yeah, which kind of brings up the next talking point that was brought up in Discord. Somebody says, thanks for the information. An additional question, I suppose the people working on war bonds are not the same that work on technical glitches, so does it really slow down hotfixes? In which case, I would prefer more hotfixes and less war bonds personally. And then Spitz responded saying, yes and no. The people who work on bugs with armor and guns, etc. are the same people who make new guns and armor. So the nature of the bug really determines which team is focused on fixing it. So it's the same people that make new content are the ones that's fixing the bugs. So they do kind of have to prioritize one over the other. We can't, it's hard for them to get both out at the same time.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be the nature of the beast to some extent. If you want this kind of content, you're going to have some issues with fixes and stuff. That's why I've been saying, like, when they've had these new weapon balances and these new Warbonds, crashes have come with it. You obviously want to minimize that as much as possible, but I think that's going to be kind of just something to some extent we're going to have to get used to. And that might be a tipping point for some people. Maybe for some people that's something that makes them stop playing the game, but I do think that is probably going to have to be something we might need to get used to some extent.
And there's always going to be new bugs. With every update, there's going to be bugs. So even if they took a month off to fix the bugs, the next update they do, there's going to be even more bugs. So like you said, the nature of the beast, it's always going to be that way. I think the only way they could fix this is if they hired more people to just straight up, their only job is to work on bugs. But that's a whole new process, and yeah, who knows how that works behind the scenes.
Additionally, from the Discord, there were 2 new polls that were released yesterday. The first one says, in general, how do you feel about the current state of the game? Great, I'm still having tons of fun. Good, I still play often but enjoy it less than before. Poor, or just bad, I'm not having fun at all and don't play anymore. There's still a little under 2 days to vote for this one, but there's already been 85,000 people that have already voted on this poll, which is almost, I think it's already twice as many as the last poll that came out. The second poll says, if you had to pick one, which would you like to see going forward? More weapons, new armors with different traits and passives, different objectives, modifiers, biomes, stuff like that, or no new content, just focus on fixing the bugs. This has around 90,000 votes right now, and also just a little under 2 days to vote for it. So I think the results of these polls will actually be very interesting, partially based on what we just talked about. So if you want your voice to be heard for the developers and everyone to see, go ahead and jump onto the Helldivers 2 Discord and vote on these polls. Still plenty of time left.
That does it for everything in today's video. There was a lot to go over, so if you guys made it this far, I greatly appreciate it. And it would be a huge help if you gave this video a thumbs up, because it helps us out in the algorithm. And if you're new here, consider hitting the subscribe button and hitting the bell for notifications. That way you don't miss out on any future Helldivers 2 videos. So that is going to do it for me and Cookie, and we will talk to you all next time. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye.